few presenters now on your screen. And please let me know in the chat box below if you can hear me well. You can write anything, any greetings, hey, yes. Okay, wonderful. I can see people here as well. In case you have any technical problems, please let us know in this chat box and we will try to help you. In case it's the first time for you with this webinar platform, the main mean of communication between you and speakers and us is the chat box. Unfortunately, participants don't have microphones, but please communicate in writing as much as you want. You will also see a few polls that we will ask you to complete. We will start now with a couple of questions to you about your experience of joining this webinar. Now you should be able to see a few polls on your screen. Could you please take a minute and answer the question? Okay, I can see that it was easy for you to join the platform. This is good. You attended the webinars before. Nice. Yeah, for everybody it was easy to join. Probably those for whom it was not easy are not here yet. Okay. Nice. Thank you. We have a couple of more minutes for these polls and then we will shut them down. And today we are here to continue our discussion about the Barnahus model. It's a series of webinars together with the Promise project. And at today's webinar we are going to discuss ensuring an inclusive and child-friendly setup with a focus on Barnahus quality standards. I will now give the floor to Shona, whose video you can see just above me, and she's going to facilitate this webinar and give floor to our speakers. Shona, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. My name is Shona van Bliksen. Good afternoon, everyone. I come from the Council of the Baltic Sea States Secretariat. We are the lead partner of a project called Promise, which I'm sure many of you have heard of before, but in case you're new, the project envisions a Europe where the human rights of children to protection from violence, to support, and to be heard are fulfilled. And in this current phase of Promise, we are doing that by engaging national level actors in several European countries to generate interagency dialogue, develop agreements and frameworks, to hold national roundtables and develop plans and roadmaps, and also to deliver some tailor-made training that each country needs specifically. On the EU level, we're developing a methodology to gather children's views on their experience when they go to a Barnahus or a similar setup, and we'll actually hear about one of those methodologies today. And we're also doing many communication activities like this webinar, which we are using to expand the network and also to continue the momentum. And this momentum was gaining speed from Promise 1, a project from a few years ago now. This project launched the European Barnahus movement. It confirmed the Barnahus as a good practice and also a widely accepted concept, this term, Barnahus. And in doing so, it arranged a number of exchange meetings, trainings, study visits that unfortunately we weren't able to invite as many people as were interested to. So with this webinar series, From Zero to Barnahus, it's an open invitation to participate in the dialogue, to learn what the experiences are, and to be a part of this network. And we're glad to have you with us today. I want to draw your attention to 3 upcoming webinars. The next one is happening next week. It's on law as one enabling factor for the Barnahus. And the idea is that law is a useful tool, but even without the possibility to enact new legislation, what can we learn from current laws that are in use? I think many of you might find that quite interesting. In October, on October 11th, we will be looking at facility dogs, which help children to tell their stories. And facilities that are using these dogs are reporting better results for children. So what are these better results? And how can you decide if a facility dog would work in your setup? Join us on that day to find out more. And then in October again, on October 18th, we'll be looking at medical evaluation in the Barnahus, which is a criteria for Barnahus and a key standard that Promise puts forward. And join us on that day to learn about all of the aspects involved in organizing a medical evaluation in a multidisciplinary interagency cooperation to a high standard. Just quickly on the screen, if you're interested in the partners that we're working with in Promise 2. And without further ado, it's time to move to our first speaker. Ms. Ann Lind-Liiberg is the project manager in the Child Protection Department at the Social Insurance Board in Estonia, where they started hearing children's voices even before they launched services. So, Ann, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me good. And I am very glad that you asked me here to perform today. And yes, I could say that hearing children's voices is very important for us in Estonia. You know, there are not so many Estonian people and less children, so we are very proud that we can hear what they have to say. Also, designing our Barnahus in Tallinn. So our first try was to find children with just random sample. We asked 11 children between ages 6 to 15 to give their overview of how they feel themselves in the premises of Barnahus in Tallinn. And which was actually a good statistics was that one kid actually turned to the service later. So she was abused some years before. So actually, after evaluating the Barnahus in Tallinn, she also wanted to get the experience as a client later. So there were 5 parts of this evaluation. Their first impression after entering the facility, of how they were greeted by personnel, how did they feel there. So their thoughts about meeting room, how was the furniture and all the related rooms and activities, how was their time planned there, did they feel inconvenient, and did they have anything to do there? So what were their thoughts about interviewing room? And we also played the small interviews, of course not about their history or not asking about the forms of abuse, but as it was just after Christmas, then we asked questions using this NCHD protocol, but to ask questions, how was your Christmas and how did you feel during the holiday time? So their convenience in medical examination room, and also a feedback to all people and interaction through the process. all the 5 parts. About people greeting them, about even a cleaning lady, everything and everyone they met during these 5 parts. And here is a small poll for you, which seems the most important to you if you come to this child-friendly facility. Is this the furniture? Is this might be the smells, colors? For our homes, we really carefully choose our colors for every single room. Is it the tidiness? Can Barnahus actually be a little messy, or should it always be very tidy? Is it the variety of food you are served there? Do you care if you get a sandwich or a soup or a candy? And of course, people. Do you care about all people you meet, or just the most important people, or the people who interact you with the most? There is no right answer, actually, because everything you see here in this list was important to children. Even the feeling that they can be a little messy, that they don't have to be very sterile in their activities. They can play like they play at home. And there were many things that they compared the service with their home. So I hope I can now give you the most notable results from children. They don't like Barnahus to be very sterile, that it shouldn't be like a hospital, that it would rather smell like home, that there could be maybe lavender or hot chocolate smell, something smooth and relaxing. And also the material. You know, there might be some kind of carpets that have this this weird business style of smell, which you never use at home. So you shouldn't have this kind of materials and textiles also in your Barnahus. So a little mess is fine. That there shouldn't be anyone asking to clean everything, every single small Lego, that you can actually play and enjoy yourself during this process, and don't have to think too much of that. Maybe some grown-up now comes and gives me this permission to clean after myself very fast. And of course, furniture. That's what we have talked in all different kinds of Barnahus related seminars, that kids should have furniture on their size and look comfy. But what we also found out was that they are feeling frightened towards furniture too big. And also, for example, toilets. It is very common that in business facilities you have bigger toilets, also because of disabled people need some larger rooms. But for small children, it is essential that you still feel protected, and you might need some assistance if you go to a large toilet. And of course, usual thing like a small potty needed for small children, not just bigger toilet seats. And what we also did was we compared everything from a child's point of view. That this is the same room in our Barnahus in Tartu, but there is a big difference. Is it from 1 meter high point of view, or 1.6 or 7? So that's just I wanted to show this like sharp corners that for small children it might be like into your face, these sharp corners of a furniture. And then food. What is common in Barnahus is that you have this fridge full of candies and juice. But what our children told us was that there should be a larger variety of food. And if you come just after school, for example, then you are more hungry and you would like to have a healthier lunch, like soup or variety of sandwiches, not just some candy bar. And we also asked feedback from our parents who were in this center together with children. And what we noticed was especially fathers got really angry and anxious if they had to stay in this service for maybe 1 hour, maybe 2 hours after work, and not having any suitable snacks for grown-up people. So just this Kit Kat or some small chocolate won't do. And of course, tea or coffee, that's just a polite way to welcome a grown-up. Then also slogans and music, especially in medical examination room, because children feel a bit disturbed there. Of course, it is not very good to lie on this medical gynecological table. And teenagers asked these quotes onto walls, and smaller children asked something more playful, like planes or butterflies to ceiling. And this, I hope you can see, it's a rather small picture, but we have this little carousel now in Tartu. And of course, some sounds would also be good. Peaceful music or even sounds of nature is always better than just a quiet room. And then people who work on these premises. And as I told you already before, is that you have to mark every single people who even walk through these premises. Is that it really could be a cleaning lady in a really bad mood and just not even saying anything, just staring at this harsh look that that the children feels that she is not welcome there, and maybe her shoes are dirty or anything like this. So so every single person has to welcome children in the center, not just an interviewer or a project coordinator or someone more high-level staff member. And of course, we would like to continue with these child participation rounds. And this time we would like it to be at the 3 age groups, because there are differences. And a child of 3 or 4 years old won't notice things that a 14-year-old girl, for example, notices. And also we would like this analysis to be apart from our team, so that we could also gather better data about people working, because it is very hard to ask a kid, do you like me or not? That it could be another interviewer who would interview these kids who come to evaluate the service. So this we try to compose the analysis by the end of this year, in the end of December. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, Anne. There was a good amount of chatter in the chat saying about how everything that you were saying is so interesting and so important. And there was actually a couple questions. If you have any tools that you can share, one person asked about questionnaires for children who are between 3 and 5 years old. One question was a bit more general. Do you have anything that you can share with us?
Of course, we can share the questionnaire we had, but we now try to improve it this autumn, because, as I told you, there are different kinds of questions and for different age groups. So we cannot surely share the old one, but I think we could also improve it a lot.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. And I actually have a question to the participants now. If you have actually in your own work done a similar kind of consultation with children, let us know in the chat. And what did you do and what did you find out that was interesting? Thank you again, Anne, and we'll be back with more questions for you later. But right now it's time to move on to our next speaker. Hello, Beata. Beata Wojtkowska is the Barnahus coordinator from the Empowering Children Foundation in Poland. And Beata, just a few months ago, you actually launched the Warsaw Barnahus. I think you had a lot of things that you learned along the way, and we're very curious to hear about your experience. So, Beata, the floor is now yours.
Hello everybody, it's a pleasure to be here and to talk about our Polish experience regarding setting up a Barnahus in Warsaw but also in other cities. But first I would like to talk a bit about my organization. I'm from Empowering Children Foundation, and it's the biggest expert organization in Poland that has been providing support to abused children and safeguarding children for 27 years now in Poland. Here you can see our, okay, so one slide it doesn't work, but it's okay. Right now we have been, we opened 2 Barnahuses in Poland. One is located in Warsaw and the other one in the Polish coast. But soon we will have 4 Barnahuses, because we are developing a network of Barnahuses, all of them NGO based, but 2 of them will be operated by other organizations, not by our organization. This is the logo of the network and also of the Barnahuses, but I will talk a bit about visual identification later on. How did it all start for us? To make a long story short, in one of our, if one of the big international conferences, the representative of my organization were presented with the idea of the American Child Advocacy Center. They went to Huntsville, Alabama to visit the center, and then they launched our first child support center in 2003. We had our child-friendly interviewing room there, but very limited space and limited services. Then we were invited to Promise 2 project and got to know the European Barnahus model. We visited several Barnahuses, got inspired, and finally we received a big grant from the Wieleks Foundation for the purchase and the adaptation of the building in Warsaw, but also for the renovation and adaptation in 3 other locations in Poland, in order to set up a network of Barnahuses. Okay, so here we are with 50% of the money we need, and we are buying a house, and very challenging. And I will guide you, I will show you step by step how we did it. First, it was very important for us to identify the needs. I think the presentation doesn't work very well, but I will tell you without this slide. First of all, you will not do this by yourself, therefore you need to select the people you will consult with. Other Barnahuses, your interdisciplinary team, other professionals, parents and kids, because we also did the consultation with children. Secondly, what is important, you have to make a list of requirements, always taking into account child-friendly environment standards. So think about accessibility, interior environment adapted to children's needs, and age-appropriate privacy, and also how to prevent the contact with the suspected perpetrator. Then we ask ourselves the question, how many rooms, how many therapeutic rooms, how many toilets do we need? What should be the space arrangement? For example, where the interviewing room should be placed to guarantee privacy and silence. And then we make a list of essential features and ask ourselves questions. What's practical, what's affordable, what makes sense, and also, of course, if it complies with child-friendly environment and standards. And then we started to talk to the architect and receive his feedback after all the work we did. And then what was very important for us, we got the first design, project design, and the first visualization. So here you can see the first project design. So we did the project design, we had the project design, but we didn't have the building yet. And we had the visualization. You can see the visualization of the waiting room. And we can see also that was the first slide, that was the visualization of the part for children. This is for parents, but also for older children. Therapeutic rooms. And why this was very important for us to have the visualizations, because it was extremely useful for advocacy and also for fundraising purposes, but also to talk to our staff about the new premises and to consult with them. And definitely it's easier to talk if you can show something and not to talk, about anything, about the future project you have. Okay, so another challenge, first draft of the budget. Of course, the design, the project design was also important for the draft of the budget. So we included for us to the budget the purchase of the building, and we based the market research was based on real estate ads. Then we estimated the cost of the adaptation, renovation for 1 square meters, because we thought that maybe we will need like 600 square meters. We counted all the furniture that we thought that it can be useful for us, and the cost, we decided that the IKEA catalog will be the best to estimate the cost of the equipment, and we added 20% to the estimated budget, because it's always more expensive, and everybody who builds a house or renovate something or adapt something know about it. And it turned out that the budget was quite realistic and quite accurate. And next stage, although it wasn't a next stage, it was a parallel stage, it was fundraising. Okay, so it doesn't work, this slide again. But what was important for us, it was to build a fundraising strategy and different fundraising, to have different fundraising tools. And we thought that it is very important and very useful to have different tools, fundraising tools, targeting different audiences, different sponsors. So we had our fundraising tool for individual donors, for business partners, for local authorities, and I will show you some of the some of the tool we have created. It will be a video spot, and it will be with music and Polish subtitles, but I will translate it to you. Okay, can I have the video spot? And you can adjust the volume by yourself if it's too loud for you. Children, victims of violence, victims of abuse, sexual abuse, are helpless. They need professional help under one roof. Where? Where they will feel safe, where they will regain trust in people, where they will regain hope and dream, where they will receive psychological help, medical help, legal help, where they will receive help for themselves and for their families. Where? There is no such place. Yes. Yes. We are building this place. We are building Child Advocacy Center together. Together we empower children. Help us to build Child Advocacy Center. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so right now I will ask for the poll. Okay, I need your feedback. Do you use this kind of videos for fundraising campaigns? Okay, I can see that people use this. Do you think this kind of video would be useful for your organization? Okay, some people don't organize fundraising campaigns, I can see. 8 people said yes. Yeah, like all people think that this kind of video would be useful for the organization. And it was like this for us. It was extremely useful for everybody. So I told you at the very beginning that we needed different tools for different audiences, but this video spot was for everybody, was very useful. To show it to local authorities and to the government, but also to business sponsors, and everybody was very moved and touched. So I think, yeah, everybody, yeah, I can see some comments that somebody got emotional, and it was the same for us, that people really liked it and wanted to support us, also individual donors. Okay, so I think, yeah, I will. Different tools. We decided also to have the graphic of the house to Child Advocacy Center, yeah, because Maybe I will explain it to you, because sometimes I call our center Child Advocacy Center and sometimes Barnahus, because from the very beginning it is NGO based, and we started, it was based on Child Advocacy Center, and also the Polish, from Poland, from Polish it's easier to translate it Child Advocacy Center, so sometimes in English I use the word Barnahus, or sometimes Child Advocacy Center. We also, so this graphic was also very good to, also we put it to all the presentations we did, but also to the leaflets, to explain people how does it work, how is it that it's the comprehensive support under one roof. And we move on to the implementation stage. So finally we bought a big house. It was bigger than we expected and then we thought that we would buy at the very beginning, because it was 800 square meters. And we also have a very large, big basement, and we want right now to also do a big dance therapy room in the basement, and we are raising money for this. And of course we had to adjust our project design. You can see that it's very similar, so we didn't, it wasn't very much work to do this. Here can you see the work we did, the adaptation, and yeah. And right now I will show you some of the our interiors, some photos. So this is part of our waiting room, and we are especially proud of the waiting room because it was exactly as children and professionals and parents wanted it to be, and also us. And this is also the big table. It's especially important for everybody because it feels like home. This is also part of the waiting room. Here you have some special features that children told us about. For example, the reception desk. You can see that one part of the reception desk is lower, especially for children, because in the previous center, the children were invisible from the person who was on the other side. And also, maybe the picture is not very good, but you can see also in the wardrobe, that you know, the hanger for the hangers, they are like at the lower level as well for smaller children, and also children wanted this. And also, like above, you see a picture of the hanger for the smaller kids. Here you have one of our therapeutic rooms, and we have 8 therapeutic rooms. They are similar, the same style. You can see that this is like neutral colors, minimalistic Scandinavian design, because it was no, everything is bought in IKEA. The play therapy room for smaller children, medical room, interviewing room, the technical room for the interviewing room, and this is the interviewing room with cameras and micros. Okay, so can I ask for the poll, because I would like your feedback? Yeah, I would like to ask you if you like the design of also Barnahus. Oh, okay, great. Everybody loves it. More colorful, okay. Person. Yeah, because we thought a lot about the colors, and also some of the people from our team and also some parents thought that it should be more colorful, but we decided that it would be better to make it more neutral, because we also have a lot of teenagers, and on the other hand, the teenagers wanted to have more neutral design. Okay, so okay, thank you for the poll. What we learned, because of course we had a lot of learnings and conclusions here. Yeah, we did it. We did all the adaptation and renovation in winter. And in winter, we thought that we don't need air condition because, come on, we are in Poland, and also the building is very spacious. But it turned out that we almost died in summer. We suffered a lot. It was very, very hot. So now we know that we need air condition. And what else? I think that we should have thought before about relationship in the neighborhood, because right now we have some problems with the neighbors, and I think it could have been prevented if we spent more time talking to the neighbors and inviting them to our centers, because sometimes they don't understand that people, like, for example, from Muslims coming to our centers, and this quite good neighborhood, but problematic as well. What was important for us, and I can recommend it because I think we did it good. We engaged the construction crew with our mission, and it was really great because they supported us a lot. They were very caring and responsible, and they did it very fast. And it felt like they did it for their own families or for themselves, because it was really great. And also important to acknowledge the donors. And we did it with you can see that it's our logo, and we have the wall for the donors, and they really love it. I think that's all. Okay, and in this photo you can see also the president, the wife of the president of Poland, who visited our center. Okay, thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you so much, Beata. I don't know if you were following along in the chat as you were speaking, but people are really impressed with how professional and how beautiful your space looks. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Actually, one of the questions that I have is about photography. Do you have any recommendations there? Because your photos are really so beautiful and so professional. Did you have a professional photographer? Any thoughts about what you will use the photos for in terms of? I think you'll probably use them for fundraising purposes, but anything else?
Yeah, the photos are very important. We use them for fundraising purposes and also for advocacy. Right now we add the photos to all the presentations as well. And we had professional photographers. They work for us pro bono because they're our friends of the organization. And right now, so first of all, we had this session with only the space, without people, empty space. But right now it turned out that we also need people there. So we think about the photo session with people, of course not our clients, not our children, but it will be the staff and their families there.
Sylvia in the chat here wonders if you've opened already, and how's that going?
Yeah. We opened 2 places in Warsaw and in Starogard, and today is the launching of the third Barnahus in Głogów, in the south of Poland, and it will be operated by other organizations, but also based on the European Barnahus standards. And we are the coordinator of the network, and we provide the support or the know-how to the organization who does it. And the 4th one will be opened at the end of this month.
Fantastic. And Ruth actually wants to know how successful you were with your fundraising campaign with the video.
Yes, so yeah, it was successful because, as I told you at the very beginning, we had the grant, like 50% of the money we needed from the Village Foundation, and also it was one of the conditions of the Village Foundation that we should fundraise 50% more, and we did it. So, full success.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have another question, but I just wanted to say before some people start dropping off that I noticed that we're actually 47 participants now, and in the beginning we weren't so many. So if you joined late, don't worry. You'll be able to rewatch this webinar. In a few days you'll get a link to watch the beginning. My question is actually about the IKEA furniture. I'm in Sweden. I'm very familiar with IKEA furniture. And sometimes it breaks. So do you have a budget for replacing things?
So we have some budget for replacement, and also because I told you at the very beginning that it was ongoing fundraising campaign, so we still fundraise money for the center, of course. And yeah, I know that it breaks, but it also looks good, so we decided that it's not so expensive, let's say. And also in our center in Barnahus in Starogard, we received all the furniture for free from IKEA. So, you know, if somebody gives you something,
that's amazing. You know, I nearly suggested that IKEA should sponsor you, and so apparently they actually did.
Yeah, they sponsored one of the Barnahuses, let's say.
That's very nice. I think that we have run out of questions from the audience. Anne, would you like to turn your video back on for a second? If you're still there. There she is. Hi again. A question that I had for you is, how do you take on children's experiences as they come to the house naturally, instead of, do you have a way that you do that, instead of just the specific
well, we haven't thought much about the feedback about how the premises look like for children, but it comes quite naturally if you have time to see of children activities, their questions, so you can actually gather the information every time there are children on the premises. So, but yes, we don't have any actual form for the daily routine, because we actually have the problem that that's a good problem probably, but after 1 or less than 2 years being opened, we have the huge number of clients and huge number of children coming to our centers right now. So we are just trying to give our best daily to work with them, and don't have much time or people resource to work daily about asking of what they think about pillows or such. But we try to solve it with this analysis in the end of this year.
Well, that's great. Another question has come in for Beata about how do the children come to the center? Are they guided there by social services or police or the legal system? So it's just a question about referral. Actually, maybe both of you could answer this. How are children referred to your service?
Okay, so they are referred to. Okay.
Shall I answer?
Me or
okay. In Estonia, we try to first organize it only through child protection service, but now we have many cases coming straight from the police, and also we have turns from our child helpline number 116111, which is coordinated also by our social insurance board. So there are actually calls being transferred from child helpline straight to our Barnahus. So there are also cases coming from this trajectory.
Okay, and in Poland, they are referred by different institutions. We don't have child protection services, but we have like our social welfare department, let's say, and by the police, of course. But most of the cases we have, the parents, they come by themselves to our centers, and they are not referred by anybody. They just, look for support.
Thank you so much. It looks like some of our participants are on their way out, and that is quite okay. Thank you all for joining us. I'm looking to see if there's any other questions coming in at the last moment. Ruth wants to know about access conditions. Is there, are there any restrictions to the target groups that you both are seeing? So we'll take.
Okay, so we set criteria in the age. So there are children who are until 18 years old, but also we take exceptionally, but there are more exceptions right now. Children who until 21 years old, who are still students, who are still at school. Also, they participate in legal proceedings. So basically, there was a crime committed. So they are the victims of sexual abuse or violence, but the legal proceedings started, let's say. And also, if there is a suspicion of sexual abuse, we also take this case, even if there is no legal proceeding yet. Mm-hmm.
We take all these suspected sexual abuse cases, but often we find out that it's not actually sexual abuse. It could be some other forms of abuse, or for example, punishment of children by their parents. So, but we don't send these children away. We then just organize services together with child protection offices across Estonia. And about undocumented migrant children, in Estonia there is this number of undocumented migrant children is very small. That's like 2 or 3 cases per year. So of course these children are also welcome, but that's not like a special target group for us so far. But by the end of 2020, we would like that all underage victims of human trafficking could also share, would get the service of Barnahus model. And there are larger numbers of these kind of cases. And also, not all cases are cross-border cases, but also from different parts. For example, for small country areas to human trafficking to Tallinn. So these cases would also join our children's house model then.
Thank you so much, ladies. I think that's all we have time for today. To our participants, if you have more questions to our speakers or to us, then please shoot us an email. I'll make sure I write my email in the chat again before we end. I wanted to remind you about our next webinar. It's next week. Law is one enabling factor. Register today. There's a link. If you look right next to the chat, it says web links. Next Barnahus webinar, click on that and go register right now. And thank you for your engagement in the chat. It's been really lovely having your questions and your comments and your encouragement to our speakers. Thank you so much, Anne, and thank you so much, Beata. Everyone was intrigued, clearly. and
Hi, Shana. Thank you very much, Beata, and it was very interesting. Thank you so much. I learned a lot of new stuff. Great job. Before we finish, I would like to remind participants that if you would like to get a certificate confirming your attendance of this webinar, then drop us a line on the email that you now see in your chat box, info@childhub.org. Just send us a quick email saying you would like a certificate and we will send one to you. Also, as Shona mentioned, we are going to have more Barnahus webinars. Next week, the one Shona talked about, I will send you a link now just to be sure that you have it here. And also in October, we are going to have a very exciting webinar about how furry friends and dogs help children to tell their stories. So keep an eye on our newsletter. I can remind you here where you can subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And then you will not miss the webinars. Thank you very much for joining us today and have a nice afternoon. Goodbye.